When you've lived in the same neighborhood for 20 years, you start to think you've seen every possible HOA stunt. I was wrong. Last fall, I left for a month-long work trip. Before leaving, I did everything by the book. Notified the HOA, paid my dues ahead of time, even arranged a neighbor to keep an eye on my place. My assigned parking spot, number 27, was practically part of my identity. I'd fought for that spot during the lottery back in 2008, and I wasn't about to give it up. But when I returned, jet-lagged and dragging my suitcase, I found a shiny black SUV parked in my spot. At first, I thought it belonged to a guest. Then I noticed the freshly printed sign taped neatly to the wall, reserved for HOA president. I blinked hard. Surely this was a mistake. The HOA president, Dennis, always had spot number 3, and he loved reminding everyone it was the best one. The next morning, still groggy but fully irritated, I marched into the clubhouse. Dennis sat behind the desk like a king who just raised taxes. When I asked what happened to my spot, he didn't even look up from his laptop. "Oh, since you were out of town, we reallocated your space. You weren't using it." Reallocated? My spot wasn't a checkout book. It was deeded to my unit, legally tied to my property. I reminded him of that calmly but firmly. Dennis just shrugged. The board voted. Too late now. Well, not for me. I might be in my 60s, but I haven't misplaced my backbone or my paperwork. I went home, pulled out my old file box, and found the original deeded parking agreement. I also found emails from a decade ago confirming my permanent rights to Space 27. The next day, I scanned everything and sent it to the full HOA board with a polite, pointed message, "For your immediate attention." Within 2 hours, an emergency board meeting was scheduled, and emergency was exactly what it was for the HOA. Turned out Dennis hadn't reallocated anything. He'd simply wanted a closer parking spot and assumed I'd be gone long enough for no one to push back. Worse, he'd done similar things to a few other residents over the years, quietly and without proper votes. The board was furious. By the end of that meeting, not only was my parking spot restored permanently, but Dennis was removed as president. His little power grab finally caught up to him. But karma wasn't finished. A week later, I came home to see a tow truck hooking up that same black SUV from the guest parking lane. The new board had decided to enforce rules equally, truly equally, which meant even former presidents didn't get automatic privileges. I stood there watching the truck pull away, and I'll admit it, the sight was deeply satisfying. Sometimes karma doesn't whisper. Sometimes it just rolls in, lifts an entitled man's SUV off the ground, and drives it straight out of the neighborhood. And yes, Spot 27 is still mine, still deeded, and still waiting for me every single day.